let's bring in friend of the program. Let's push some buttons there. Hey, friend of the program, Fox 40, Sean Cunningham. Sean, what's going on, man?
Hi guys, that was quick. How are you?
Oh, is that okay? Do you want us to take you off for a minute?
No, let me just take a sip of water.
Yeah, take that. Take a little sip.
Look at that T-shirt.
That's an incredible T-shirt.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You didn't go
Rihanna. Love Major League.
Yeah. No, I couldn't go Rihanna. Most of them are inappropriate. And the White Men Can't Jump T-shirt for the audio listener is just the Woody Harrelson and the Wesley Snipes. The movie cover.
The cast of Wildcats.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Was he in there? Wesley Snipes was?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Wesley and Woody and Goldie Hawn.
Yep.
Gotcha. It's good knowledge.
Anything else? I
got plenty.
IMDb rabbit holes before?
I've got plenty. Yeah, we do this all the time. By the way, I've been going down a rabbit hole of water spouts and super yachts, so I'm here for all the conversation and conspiracy theories if you're ready for them.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll put a pin in the conspiracy theories here for a moment. Can you clear something up for me? And from what I understand, you've done this already, but I have not heard it, so I need to hear it from you. The workouts that you reported the Kings had, Isaiah Thomas, Juan Toscano Anderson, Tony Bradley, and Lonnie Walker, were those just workouts so the Kings players could play against NBA guys, or were those legitimate tryouts?
Well, I mean, I think both can be true. I think that's anyone confused by it should still recognize a workout as an opportunity, but they're not like a pre-draft workout where you have a singular focus on somebody, or here's our roster slot that we're dangling in front of somebody and say, hey, best man, come get it and earn it. This is very much an opportunity for the roster players in town to get those competitive workouts, and they're not too dissimilar for what you've seen in years past, but there is opportunity to be had, make no mistake. And so putting these people in front of not only NBA talent and evaluators and front offices and coaches, but getting the opportunity to get some burn for these roster players that have a mini camp coming up in San Diego in the near future will be paramount, just to break up some of the monotony of the offseason.
Yeah, Sean, do you know, did this already take place, or is it taking place, or is it in the future? Like, what are we talking about here?
I know the mini camp is in the future, but this week. I think they were select days throughout the week, and what is today, Thursday? Yeah, I think there's another one, but I don't have clarity on what days. I just know there were workouts this week.
Okay.
Sean Cunningham, Fox 40. I want to loop you in on a conversation we've been having today here on The Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Nasir Little was waived by the Phoenix Suns. Not saying the Kings should claim him off waivers, but to bring in a player like Nasir Little, where do you land on that idea?
I don't know if I've given it too much thought, to be honest. I did see he was waived. I actually didn't piece him and Sacramento together necessarily, but what's 2
hours now.
I mean, certainly I can see someone's attraction to a player like him, but I don't know. I think I don't know. I think, look, you can go up to 21 roster players, James. I think you know that better than me for training camp. I think this team pretty much already has, an idea of what they want to look like. I mean, it's possible they could even keep an open roster spot heading into the season for flexibility. We've certainly seen teams do that before. So, sure. I could be talked into it. I don't know that it's somebody that I would circle, like me personally, taking all, any knowledge that I have, which is none, just putting my own opinion out there. I don't know that I would circle him and put him in a situation for Sacramento, but I could certainly be talked into it and certainly understand why somebody would have an attraction to Nas Little.
I'm cutting this video for social, and I'm going to quote you as, sure, Sean Cunningham on Nasir Little.
Yeah, meh.
Yeah, like when I look at it, I don't know that like it is a needle mover, but at the same time, I feel the same thing about Jalen McDaniels. And so for me, like if you were to go out and get him, like first of all, it's going to put you up against the luxury tax really close. Will probably put you over the luxury tax, but like further deep into heading towards like the hard cap where the Kings are at. So I could see where there could be some hesitation here, but at the same time, like this team needs to have some quality competition for roster spots, which I don't think that they've had on the back end of their roster for the last couple of years. And so for me, I like, again, you need to go find talent, and you need to find talent at the 3 and at the 4, length, athleticism, what we always talk about. So I wouldn't be, like, I wouldn't hate it. I don't think it's again something that's going to change the trajectory of your team, but you never know. And if I'm going to take a flyer on somebody, I'd rather take a flyer on Nasir Little than I would on a guy like Kessler Edwards. Like, he's just got like a larger body of work.
Yeah. I see a work in there. I would just say, I would probably argue you should probably do better. And I don't think, to use your vernacular, I don't think they need to be taking flyers on anybody, to be quite honest. I think they're in a position where they need to be damn sure of who they're bringing into their team. I think they've taken some flyers already, and hoping some things pan out the right way, and maybe people have bounce back years and fit in the right way and all that kind of stuff. I think, I'd rather see him be quite aggressive personally, but at the risk of not being able to have a finer example of someone you could bring in, I just think you probably need to do better. So,
but on August 22nd,
right?
that's kind of that's like, at this point, the players available are all going to be flyer types, or you're just bringing them in and hoping that they can develop in your system.
Perhaps.
I'm not asking a player, Nasir Little or anybody else who's added on late August, to come in and be a rotation guy.
Yeah. I think there's also a world that exists where, for people who, just for context a little bit, like, you may have kicked the tires on somebody through in terms of gauging interest in the free agency process, and maybe their number is higher than the number that you're willing to give out. So I don't know that with respect to those players, I don't think those are flyer pieces. I think there's people that, may have had an idea of what the market would bear, and now that you're getting in closer to training camp, that market might change a little bit on their end, and possibly the Kings end as well. So I hope you can't hear my air conditioning just kicked on.
You can, that's fine.
Hopefully it's not too loud. I usually turn that off, but it's
okay.
It's nice.
I love the ambiance.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's I think if you remember last year, I think James and I talked about this on the recent Kings Beat podcast, where if right around this time, I mean, they were bringing in the likes of, you still had Neemias Queta, and you still had, you just brought in Nerlens Noel, and neither one of those guys were around by the time training camp really rolled around, because of the likes of JaVale McGee. So a lot can change here in the next few days and weeks leading up to camp. And, it'll be interesting to see if anything shakes out with this, with some of these veterans that have come in, and if any others tend to come in the next few days or so, before maybe that mini camp happens, or even on the heels of that mini camp going into training camp itself.
Yeah, Sean, it seems like you have an idea that there might be someone else out there that would take less money than what they've been looking at in the past. Not to like throw a name out there, but it does seem like, like the Kings they don't feel like they're done 100%. Maybe they are, but it still feels like there's an opportunity for them to change things. And I know I mess with you all the time. Do you think they're done, Sean?
I know.
But it does feel like if there is opportunity to improve this roster, that they're not going to they are going to be aggressive. I'd also like the guys that they're bringing in here, the Lonnie Walkers, Isaiah Thomas, as much as anything, I think this is the Kings doing solids for people, getting people their names back out there, getting kicking the tires and seeing if there's some tread left on some of these guys, but also with the understanding that the roster as of right now can't absorb a full-fledged veteran that would push their salary up higher. The veteran that they'd have to bring in at this point, for me, would have to be someone who fits exactly what they need going forward. And none of those guys really check a box that says, okay, look, you signed Jordan McLaughlin, having a fourth point guard and Isaiah Thomas doesn't make that much sense. Lonnie Walker, they already have 5 shooting guards. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking at him as a product right now. I think the challenges in front offices all the time is looking at the evolution of your team itself. And, the team today isn't necessarily the team in October and January and beyond the trade deadline. And, maybe just to give an example, I mean, you might be considering a move that could be out there, and, before you totally either commit or remove yourself from those talks, maybe you kick the tires on something that can create depth in the event you do make that move. So, lining up pieces, C, D, and E before you do, the move of A, B, and C, so I just think it all comes down to due diligence and, getting a real read of the room. And I think, all information is necessary as you head into the season. Whether you mention a guy like Lonnie Walker, whether he's playing for you or another team, you still get to get some reliable intel on where he's at in his career. So it's all just useful information at the end of the day. And I think this front office has a way of attaching themselves to a lot of various options and scenarios if the event something plays out. And I don't think that's too dissimilar for what happens throughout the league.
Sean Cunningham, Fox 40, joining us now. Sean, I heard tell that DeMar DeRozan is considering joining the Kings. Your thoughts?
Considering, yeah. It still doesn't feel real, does it? I mean,
kind of wild.
In talking to people throughout, both media landscape and just the league over the past weeks since summer league, it's still kind of a weird feeling to say for Sacramento that they landed a fish like DeMar DeRozan to be able to especially put next to a prime De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. You now have that true three-headed monster. And the thing I still can't get over is how they were able to acquire somebody of that ilk, even longer in the tooth as he is, but still providing such a productive piece to a roster that didn't really have to, with respect to those guys, didn't have to really give up much for him. So I think it's exciting, man. I really do. I think it's exciting. And I love seeing these videos of Domas and DeMar DeRozan kind of getting to know one another in these weeks leading up. And it'll be fun to hear some of the stories that kind of come out of this week. Yeah,
no doubt. You got anything else?
No,
James. All right,
we got to go to break, don't we?
Yeah, we got to break. If you have something
can I give you one thing though? I would. It was fun for me, by the way, to kind of catch up with Jordan McLaughlin earlier this week. I had an interview with him that it was kind of more of a get to know you thing, but just kind of an interesting story and a guy that certainly has high hopes for what he can do with this Kings team, but also in a place in his career where he's leaving a organization that he knew for 5 years. So interesting spot where he's at, and it was just kind of fun to kind of catch up with him as one of the new faces of the Kings, because I hadn't had a chance to do that yet. So
feels like he's going to be one of those guys that hits a huge shot like super early in the season.
He feels like one of those guys that they're like fans are going to fall in love with, like the Yogi Ferrells of the world. Yeah,
definitely.
And a disruptor. It just feels like a disruptor too.
Yeah.
Kind of like you just disrupted my outro.
Sorry, buddy.
Sean, you're the very best. Appreciate you. That's Sean Cunningham, Fox 40. And we will talk to you another time soon, hopefully.
Love you guys. Thanks.
All right. See you, buddy.
Bud.
Take care.
Bye.